welcome to this episode of Tuesdays with Liz, the Disability Policy for All. Today I'm here with former Representative Coelho from California. He served in the House of Representatives from 1979 to 1989 and was the primary sponsor of the American with Disabilities Act. As we celebrate Disability Pride Month, Representative Coelho and I will talk about the 34th anniversary of the passing of the ADA. Thank you for being here, Representative Coelho.
Thank you, Liz. It's great to be with you as usual.
You were a representative in the House of Representatives who helped write the ADA when it was signed into law. In 1990, protecting the civil rights of persons with disabilities. Can you tell us about how the ADA became federal law?
Well, first off, Liz, the most important thing was we had to develop the grassroots, people with disabilities all across the country with all different disabilities. People don't appreciate just how many disabilities there are in our community. So generally in the past, if you had a heart condition, you dealt with heart issues. If you had epilepsy, you dealt with seizure issues and so forth. But under the ADA, we all had to come together and be for our basic civil rights. And the person who gets the most credit with developing the disability community at this time was Justin Dart. He went around the country all over traveling in order to educate people as to why we needed our basic civil rights. And we all had to work together instead of separately. And that created the atmosphere to get an ADA. If it hadn't been for Justin's work in the grassroots development, we would have never created the opportunity to move legislation. The legislation in the Senate, you had people like Ted Kennedy, Bob Dole, Tom Harkin, and Orrin Hatch, people forget, was very active. So you had 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats in the Senate, and it moved very rapidly there. In the House, we had a different situation. We had the leadership who thought the ADA was too big, too expansive, and that it needed to be broken down and so forth. And they asked if I would pull it and break it up. I said no. See, I was the whip at the time, and I had just as much support in the Democratic caucus in the House as they did, even though they held higher positions. But I said no. And then we went through the process, and the bill was assigned to several committees and a lot more subcommittees in an effort to slow it down and kill it. Steny Hoyer led the effort in the House with Steve Bartlett representing the Republicans. And Steny did a tremendous job in coming up with a strategy on how to get it done. And basically started off with a subcommittee in the Labor Committee, and Major Owens was the chair of that subcommittee, and he led the effort to get it started. And we rolled along to all the different committees. But that's the process, that's what took place. But a lot of people take credit for the ADA. And I just want to say emphatically that if we didn't have the grassroots support, those of us who wrote it and so forth would not have been able to get anything done. So, and that's why I credit Justin Dart for getting the community prepared to put aside their individual needs and go for the whole community need.
Thank you. This July is the 34th anniversary of the ADA. What do you think we have accomplished in these 34 years, and what do you think we still need to work on moving forward?
I think the most important thing for our community to understand is that the ADA is a civil rights bill. It includes us with all other communities that need their basic civil rights. Before 1990, we didn't have that. So you couldn't do other laws that took care of whatever it might be without having the basic civil rights. So ADA gave us the basic civil rights. people wonder why we didn't do more for employment and so forth. That's not a civil rights issue, basically. So you had to then go to different legislation and effort. So what has happened over these years? Not enough, I will immediately say. But what we've done basically is we have created opportunities, the latest being that under Title II of the ADA, we now require the federal government, the state government, and local governments to provide access to the internet by people who have hearing, sight, or physically impaired conditions. Before that, for the last 30 years, those communities could not have access to the internet. And so now all of a sudden the material that is developed has to be accessible for that community. That's the latest in regards to some of the things. Other things in regards to HHS change there as well is that access for people who are in wheelchairs for health exams and so forth. The beds and everything else now have to be accessible. So great progress in a lot of different areas. Do we need more? Yes. The one thing that's really important is jobs. Some progress made there, but it's still not enough. And it's a question of convincing CEOs that we in the disability community can do what we can do. And I take the view, Liz, very strongly that what should happen is that we in the disability community should have the right to fail. If we have the right to fail, then we'll have the opportunity to succeed. And so getting people to understand that we can do X. I've told 5 of the last 6 presidents that there's only one community that I know of that wants to pay taxes, and that's those of us with disabilities. Because if we're paying taxes, that means we have a job. And if we are paying taxes with that job, we can buy or rent a house, we can have a car, we can get married, we can do all the things everybody else does. But we need that right. And so the whole effort with Disability In, with all the corporations, with all the work that all these different communities are doing, and particularly with this administration, I think the most important thing for our community to understand is that when you vote for president, understand what the president does. The president appoints the attorney general. The attorney general appoints the head of the civil rights. There's enforcement of all laws. Enforcement is the key. If you don't have enforcement, nothing can happen for our community. So we desperately need to have these people who are appointed, people who are pro-disability, who will make sure that the laws are enforced. So this is important for us in our community to understand that we need to have elected officials who understand our community and support our community and support the enforcement of the ADA.
Thank you. And I have to say that I agree with you. I think the failure is, we have the right to fail. We have the right, and if people allow us that dignity of rest, of failing, then we'll have jobs. We'll be able to get married. We'll be able to do a lot of things.
Liz, everybody else has the right to fail. Why don't we?
Yeah, maybe because they think that they're protecting us from something, and that's not right.
Well, Liz, the issue is that stigma. Stigma is the big thing for those of us in our community that we need to get rid of. People perceive that you and I can't do things. Whereas you have succeeded, I have succeeded because we've been given the right to fail. But there's so many millions of others in our communities who could also succeed if they're given that right to fail.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things that I like to often say is that let me fall. And I have fallen before plenty of times. I had some mobility issues right now, so I fall a lot. And but I don't mean that. I mean, just let me make a mistake and don't rush over to me up. I want to learn how to pick myself up.
That's very true.
Thank you. Thank you, former Representative Coelho, for your time, and I look forward to talking with everyone next time. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye, Liz.